Welcome to Hooked on NZ. My name is Ken and I'm coming to you from beautiful New Zealand. This video is the first in a series on soft baiting, and we're going to be looking at what type of reel you should select for soft baiting. I hope you enjoy it. The first thing I look for in a soft bait reel is wobble on this skirt. I pick up the reel and see if it will wobble. If it will wobble back and forth like that. So I take my hand and I wiggle that, and there's no wobble in this reel at all. Now, the reason why that is because these reels have a bearing on the top and the bottom of the pinion gear, which this skirt's attached to. So, I think Shimano call it X-ship, but these guys, this reel's about 11 years old, maybe 12 years old. And it's a little bit noisy, but maybe a service and a few new bearings, it'll be back up in perfectly working condition. It was a good reel at the time. This reel, again, no slop on the reel at all. For me, it's very important. I'm an engineer. I don't like slack reels or slack bearings or sloppy gears. So for me, the rocking and the skirt are very important. Now, I can pick up $400 or $500 reels and do that, and you, believe it or not, you do get some rock in them. They don't get a second look. For me, now body material, I prefer to use, or my choice of preference is aluminium. There's been a lot of push in the market for composite reels, but personally I prefer aluminium. I don't think they've got the composite material right yet. I still feel there's a bit of flex in there. It's your preference. But so I'm looking for an aluminium bodied reel. Okay, cast aluminium. What do I look for next? Well, you probably noticed on surf casting reels, the spool, on particularly reels that are purpose built for surf casting, the spool of the reel is very tall. Now, the reason why they do that is so they get more line coming off the spool with less reduction in the diameter of the spool. Because the smaller that diameter, the more friction is, the angle is greater as the line comes off that spool, and causes more friction as it comes off, spirals off there. The smaller that is, the more friction it'll cause, and the less distance you'll be able to get. So I'm looking for a reel that's got quite a tall spool. And the other way you can overcome that is by a larger diameter spool. Obviously the reel has to be smooth. Again, this reel's probably 8 years old, maybe 9 years old. Now you can hear that, but there's very little noise coming from it. It still works perfectly well. Again, it could probably do with a service and four new bearings in the main either side of the handle gears, and the pinion gear, and it'll be as good as new. There's certainly not much corrosion on the body. A little bit of corrosion on the bail arm support here and the bracketry. But the main thing that goes in reels is your line roller. When you're winding in, you'll hear your a sort of whizzing noise, sort of noise, and that's your bearing and your line rollers going. 20 to 25 bucks will fix that for you. So what else do I look for? Anti-reverse, I prefer, that's this little gadget here. I prefer no anti-reverse because I don't know why you need one. It's just somewhere for the water and the corrosion to get in. If you notice the new Stradic, no anti-reverse. Yeah, I don't think it's a feature that's very important to you. Again, your preferential choice. If you like it, pick a reel with it, but personally for me, it's just somewhere for the salt to go. Line laying. Now, probably this reel, probably a better view. So, what I'm looking for, if you notice all these reels, the line is parallel. They're all sitting on the spool, very parallel. I mean, they're the same diameter at the top, middle and the bottom. Now, a poorly manufactured reel, you'll have a taper. You'll have a smaller diameter across here and a larger diameter at the top, or a larger diameter at the bottom, a smaller diameter at the top, or a bulge in the middle, or a depression in the middle. You want to avoid these reels because it will just get worse as the reel ages. Now, you can get a parallel shape with a gap at the bottom, or a parallel shape with a gap at the top. Now, what that is just your reel inside. You probably noticed when you bought your reel, there's a little plastic bag in the box, and in that plastic bag is some of these little spacer washers. Now, they're there for a reason. They're there so if you've got a gap in the bottom, it means your spool's too low, you want to pack it up a little bit. And if there's a gap at the top, it means your spool's too high, you mean you take some out. So you can just fine tune your reel to get the perfect line laying up and down your reel, which is very important for casting. Those few extra yards, a few extra meters can make a difference between a £10 fish and a £20 fish. So worth the while to make that effort. The ergonomics of the reel, it obviously has to appeal to you, your size of hands, how you fish your reel. I tend to stay away from the 2500 and the 3500 size reels these days because the handle is very small. I don't particularly enjoy using them when the handle's quite small. I feel like I'm winding an organ grinder or a coffee grinder. I don't like the smaller handles of it, and believe it or not, 5 or 10 millimeters on the length of that handle can make quite a bit of difference to your winding experience. So I tend to go for a 4000 size. Now, I've been using a 4000 size for years now. This is a 4000 as well, but there's probably a slight bit of difference in the size of the reel, but not much. Now, when I went to replace this reel, now this reel's probably 6 years old. Yeah, probably 6-7 years old, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with this reel. I love this little oil port here on the reel. You can see that. You can unscrew that little plastic screw and put some lubrication in there. It's a heaven sent, that, because it really keeps your reel in good condition. You don't have to break it down as much for maintenance. So the size of the reel, so as I said, I've been using 4000 size reels for a long time, because I want a reel to balance my rod. When I hold it, I want the rod to sit or be close to a horizontal position, and sometimes the 2500, when you're using 7'6" or 8 foot rods, it doesn't have the weight to balance it. And for me, there's not much difference between the weight of these reels I can use this reel for 10-12 hours of fishing and have no fatigue in my arm. So I'm not worried about the weight difference between a 2500 and a 4000. And you do get you come across a lot of obviously big snapper, but a lot of kingfish when you're soft baiting. So the reason why I went, now this one here, this the reel I'm using at the moment, is a 5000. Now I've just went on about a 4000, so why am I using a 5000? Well, I had another one of these which unfortunately went for a swim, but we'll not go into that, it's too painful. But I had one of these previously, it was a 4000, and when I went to replace this, when I was having a look, I was talking to Kieran at Top Catch, and he was saying that the 4000 body is the same size as the 5000. So the bodies are identical. The only difference between the 5000 and 4000, well, maybe not the only difference, but the main difference is this power handle, the diameter of the handle, and the diameter of the spool, which I'm not particularly fussed about these power handles. I actually prefer this shape of handle, but I'm growing on this, but yeah, I just think it's a bit bulky. But it's the spool diameter I was interested in, because I'm going to get the same sort of experience you get with a taller spool. You get a wider diameter, less coils coming off for the same amount of distance. So I'll get a little bit further casting than someone using, particularly someone using a 2500. And you can see the difference. There's a significant difference in the diameter of those two spools. So maybe for every 3 coils, this guy's rolling 6 coils. So there's 6 times the amount, double the friction coming off, which is going to reduce his casting distance. So that's why I'm using a 5000 reel. There's grams of a difference between this and the 4000, so that's my pick. Very good value for money as far as I'm concerned. Now these reels, as I said, they're using double bearings either side of the pinion gear. These are a European company, quite popular in the UK, and they make very good reels. I think this one was $125. And then I went on to the Soren. Used this for a couple of years, 3 years or so. No problems with it. Still use it as a backup reel. And when people bring out things and they're shiny, I have to have them. So I purchased this one. So these go for about, again, that was about 125. That was about 150. Very good reels for the price point. These go for around about 250, 300, and they've got all the things that are important in a reel as far as I am concerned. They've got the same features that the Twin Powers and the Stellas and the Saltigas have, but they're a fraction of the price, half or a third or a quarter of the price. So for me, these are good bang for buck, good value for money. So, and the last thing, and probably the most important thing about a reel, is the drag. Now, these guys go on about these reels. I think these Stradics are pushing out upwards of 7 kgs of drag. Some of them are over 10. No way do you need that much drag in a soft bait reel. If you're using, if it's got 10 kgs of drag, you'd be using 30 kg line, a 60-pound line on a soft bait. Soft bait reel, I don't think so, for the 30% rule to apply. So I'm running 16-pound fluorocarbon, so I'm going to be running, or I do run about 4 pounds of drag. Don't need any more than that. Having 9 kilos of drag is a complete waste of time, so to speak. So I've got maybe 2 or even less. 4 or 5 pounds of significant drag for a soft bait reel. you don't want it running anymore, or you'll just lose fish. Because as a fish takes off, that drag must be smooth. As the fish takes off, this must react. You don't want the line, when you're using reels with monofilament, you had 30%, 20% stretch, so the fish would run away, the line would stretch, then eventually the reel would realise the fish has run away and catch up and start releasing the reel through the drag. But with braid, when the fish runs, it's an instant reaction. So that drag must act instantaneously, and you don't want a build-up of pressure before the drag starts going, which cheap reels do. The inertia has to go right away. So the drag's really important, and it's useful to take them off, give them a clean, and grease them when you service your reels. So the drag's really important. You don't want a sticky drag. You want a smooth drag, so the fish doesn't experience any hiccups as it's running away. Well, not the fish, but the line doesn't experience any increase in weight as the drag's catching up with itself, or it hits a sticky spot, because that could just mean the difference between landing that double figure fish of a lifetime and saying goodbye to it. You don't want that. So that's probably about all I'd like to talk about reels. Any questions or any queries about what I've talked about tonight, please drop a comment below. Feel free to subscribe and like the page, and we'll talk soon again. Thank you. That's the fish there. There we go. Yep, that's what we want. Yes. And again, just let the drag of the reel and the rod and your equipment do the work, and you can get some line on the fish, get some, don't bring the fish in too quick. You'll just break your rod, break your line, or lose the fish. I'm not in any time trials. There's no award for getting the fish in as fast as you possibly can, only for getting them in. Okay, still got some beans, got a bit of weight. Might go double figures. Might be nearer, just under. Oh yeah, just seen a bit of colour there. Ooh. I think he's seen the kayak, and he don't like orange. I've got a situation where you gotta be very careful on a kayak. The kayak fish pulls and the kayak shoots forward over the top of the fish. Your fish is underneath the kayak. You end up point loading your rod. Oh, nice fish. Nice fish. Are you ready? Woohoo!
fish fought well. Fish fought very well. Whew. I get my thumb under his gills, and then he ain't going anywhere. He's straight in the brain. And he's dispatched. He's a funny colour. It's a red pinky colour, but I'll take those one after the other any day of the week. Torbay. Thanks for watching Hooked on NZ. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something new. Please take the opportunity to subscribe to the page and like. And as I say, the best way to catch fish is to get out there and go fishing. I'll catch you on the next tide.